Facebook is a really good way to, really good avenue for activism in social media. Twitter is the next thing they talk about. We all love to tweet, don't we? As you well know, the formal definition, it's a microblogging service that allows you to tweet 140 characters. And tweeting is just the craze now that our president loves to tweet in the middle of the night when he's angry about something. Here's what they say, though. Contrary to what might think, Mr. Trump, Twitter should not be used as a megaphone to blast out announcements. It should be a platform for conversation. In other words, don't make it all about you. Which is one of the reasons why you do want to retweet. I really like this. The 60-30-10 rule, which is, I think, is very smart for Twitter. 30% of, 60% should be about pointing to other tweets. So I saw this tweet, blah, blah, basically you're retweeting stuff. 30% is responding and connecting to others, like a message or something like that. Only 10% of your own stuff should be your own announcements and stuff like that. Because what you want to do is you want things to go viral. You want other people to pick up your stuff and retweet it a bajillion times. But that's why retweeting is valid. I mean, it's really a lot of what people do. They see something in the news or they see whatever, and they retweet something so other people can see it. And that's a really good way to use Twitter. Okay, so I sort of like that idea, the 60-30-10 rule. And you might have other ideas on how to use Twitter. I mean, there's lots of visual things that you can do, and lots of links that you can have. You can do your own YouTube video and then put the link on Twitter, and then other people can retweet it. So, because at the end of the day, you want everything to go viral, right? You want stuff to get out there. You want to have followers so you can get your message out there. Google Plus. I don't know anything about Google Plus. Do you know anything about Google Plus? I don't. So let's skip that. I have a Gmail account. YouTube, again, YouTube for the most part, videos. That's what people put up, videos, and that's why I'm asking you to do a little YouTube speech. So make your own video, and that can be really, really compelling, so long as it is brief, because people have very short attention spans. It does say that you can use Google Plus and YouTube together. There's apparently, if you're a nonprofit organization who's doing activism, you can fill out the 501c3. But here's the thing. Many conversations, YouTube, posting raw footage. So you can do that. I mean, and that could be part of your speech in a sense. If you want background information or you want background montage, whatever you want to do. So it doesn't necessarily have to be just like, okay, you speaking. You can be creative about it. But here's the thing. I like that when it talks about Google and YouTube, use YouTube to tell your organization's story. And so there is a very storytelling aspect to YouTube that draws people in. It's all about narrative, and I do think that the motivated sequence sort of lends itself to that sort of narrative, particularly in the visualization. But tell a story about people who have a problem. Offer the solution and tell a story about how things could be different. Stories can be very engaging, particularly on YouTube. You're like a storyteller, right? So that can be very, very powerful. LinkedIn. I can't stand LinkedIn. When I was going back and reading through this, it did remind me to update. That's the main thing. You want to keep your information updated. A lot of people will throw up their LinkedIn thing and forget about it for years. And I don't work for a company. I work for a university, and so I hate when it says, "What company are you?" It's sort of, it's has its limitations, but it's constantly evolving, and it might be a way that you could activate, that you can advocate for this or that. But for the most part, it's used for jobs and networking from that professional, I need a job kind of thing. I just, endorse me, endorse me, endorse me. What are you good at? I'm good at endorsing. Endorse me that I can endorse. Okay. Now here's the thing. I think this last part maybe is the best part. The latest apps might die. Things come and go. Things are new. Snapchat, Instagram, Vine is dead. What's new? I mean, there's constantly something new that happens. It's the next big thing on social media. All the kids are doing it. But you always have some of the basic principles that, and it goes back to a rhetorical package in a lot of ways. What's your goal? What do you want to happen? And then how do you try to make that happen? If your goal is to get people to show up at a protest or rally or something, how can you use Snapchat to tell them when and where to go? I don't know. If your goal is to raise, awareness about certain issues, how can you use Instagram to take pictures of certain things or videos? So, what is your goal? The tools of social media are effective only if you know how to be a political organizer. So yeah, you got to generally know what you're doing. All the stuff we've already talked about. So what do you want out of all this type of stuff? What's your main goal? Second, designate the power brokers. And this is basically the same thing as know your audience. Who are you really trying to influence? And power broker basically means these are the people that can actually make a difference, right? And it depends on the situation, right? Sometimes you just want to raise awareness about certain things. But ultimately, lawmakers, people with lots of money. But who are the power brokers? Donors, advertisers, investors. How do you reach them? So you got to think about who you really want to reach out there depending on your context. Strive for people power. One of the things several years ago, the United Methodist Church was doing some sort of activism thing. I can't remember. But our former chaplain, Reverend Roy, talked about having people power is very, very important. I've said this time and time again, you're not going to solve huge problems by yourself. Yes, every single person can make a difference, but the more people you have working together, the better. So you want a machine, it says. But the more followers, the more people you can get to like you. By the way, research indicates that the more people you have more friends you have, people think you're higher status. Depends on the situation. I mean, you've got like a bajillion friends on Facebook. And what is a friend in the first place? I don't know. That is changing. But get people together. Understand your issue. That's another thing. Skip that. But yeah, you actually have to do the research. So before you have all this stuff out there, you can't just sort of retweet something but not know what the hell you're talking about. So you got to do your research no matter what what social media site you're using. Make sure you have a right message, right time, right people. So this is all about timing. Sometimes things can be funny and inspirational and whatnot. So sometimes things have to be very, very serious. So you always have to think about, is this the right message at the right time, targeting the right people? If, again, you're having some sort of event, who are the people who are most likely to show up? How can you create a message that makes it enticing? And when do you need to get that out? you can't get it out, 10 minutes before, you're not going to have a lot of folks show up. And obviously just the right message. So that goes back to the rhetorical package, rhetorical strategies, it goes back to stories. You want to vividly show some things. You might tell them a story that vividly shows how your group organization made a difference in somebody's life or solving a serious political problem. Yeah. So, and it goes in the right time. You must feel the urgency of the moment, they say. Don't overdo it because it can backfire. Don't be too fanatical, and I agree with that. You don't go crazy. But you need to make sure that you, when something, for instance, big news comes out, breaking news, even though there's breaking news, like they create breaking news, it really isn't breaking news just to have breaking news. But, you got to strike when the iron is hot, right? So get your message out. If there's some big thing that happens that's related to your situation, if some sort of, for instance, if those who are interested in the prison industrial complex, as soon as Attorney General Sessions came out rolling back a lot of the Obama changes, that was an urgent time to get ideas out about the prison industrial complex. And then the right people. You should rarely hit the send-all option. Yeah, everything should be targeted to who is really going to help you make the difference. But it's all going back to who's your audience. So again,